So, let's move on. What do we have left? We have 18 shows left. We're really cranking it down now. Let's see what's next. 4, which is Girlfriend, Girlfriend. Oh boy. I've been wanting to watch some shitty smut. I hope this is actually good. I want to watch dumb shit. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Alright, surprisingly, I just finished all of Girlfriend, Girlfriend. There's a lot to think about with this series. There's a lot to discuss, surprisingly. A lot of good and a lot of bad. But the fact that I made it to the end of this rom-com is amazing in and of itself. So this one's about a poly relationship, like just out and out, like poly relationship. The main guy has 2 girlfriends. It's amazing enough that this starts with a guy having a girlfriend, so already has pluses, but this one's like goes full poly, and it opens itself up to some really interesting topics to explore. If you know me, I'm a big fan of Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, and that has some poly shit in it as well. So, always open to more poly stuff in anime, just to explore the idea of it. And this one definitely chooses to explore that idea. There's a lot of interesting ideas about relationships in general in this show. There's talk about, like, being confident in yourself in a relationship. There's talks about when to put yourself first versus when to put other people first. Like, one of the main conflicts is, like, the red-haired girl, Saki, like, one of her main conflicts in the first, like, arc of the series is that she is, like, terrified that she's barely putting anything into this relationship, as opposed to the other girl, Nagisa, who is basically, like, perfect wife material. And Saki's, like, super hung up on the fact that she's just a lazy bitch. And they take that in some interesting directions, and they go out of their way to make the guy understand the problems that these girls have, despite how horribly fucking dense he is. Which is another interesting thing about this show, which I definitely should have caught on to way earlier based on the character designs. But this is the third series that I've seen from this particular manga author. I believe the name is Hiroyuki. They also did The Manga Artist and His Assistants and Aho Girl. I'm not a particularly big fan of this author. I was okay with Manga Artist up until it got really fucking creepy. I think I dropped that around episode 9 or 10 or so. And Aho Girl, I just outright fucking hated. I thought it was fucking garbage. But this author has a thing about writing really fucking dumb characters. Like, fucking baseline, floorboard dumb. In different ways, though. Like, in Aho Girl, which is why I fucking hated it, it's just like, haha, she's like, mentally challenged levels dumb. Let's all laugh at her. Which is why I didn't like that show. This one, the main character, Naoya, he's, like, socially dumb in all the best ways. And he also refuses to lie, which further adds to the comedy of, like, they're trying to keep this poly relationship hidden so they don't get relentlessly mocked at school. This is a surprisingly funny show with how they set with the dumbness of it. Like, it goes so fucking extreme. Because Naoya's not the only dumb character. The other characters are pretty fucking dumb in their own rights. But they also try to be genuinely good. as well. And that combination makes this premise work really well. Like, you actually see that they want to kind of make this relationship work in a sense. I do have a bit of an issue, though, with how they talk about the relationship itself, though, which hopefully will get addressed later, but they kind of treat it as a competition, which you should not do with a poly relationship. Like, there's this. They so often say, like, you're my rival or something, and, like, they want to be Naoya's, like, number one, and it's just, no, that's not how you should treat a poly relationship. That's not healthy. If you're going to do this poly thing, you should not be talking like that. If they're going to end with the poly relationship, I hope that by the end of this story, they address that and realize, like, they're all in this together. Everyone's a number one, which Naoya himself is very adamant in. It's just the two girls butting heads over this. Although the Saki seems to have a bit of a bi tendency, if I'm being honest. It might just be Yuri bait, but she's got that going for her, so maybe they'll eventually get that threesome. Who knows? Who knows? But that leads me to my biggest complaint about this show is nobody fucks. Like, let them have sex. They're already in the relationship. Just let them have sex. They very clearly want to fuck each other. Like, and it's like, the thing is, like, it sets it up so it's like Naoya wants to treat them both equally as his girlfriend. He doesn't want to have a favorite. So he wants to go the same speed with each of them, which is very valiant on his part. I really like this main character in that sense. He's very stupid in a lot of other senses, but I like how committed he is to making this poly relationship work. But let them fuck. Why? They very clearly want to fuck. They're mounting each other, trying to get them to fuck at some points. They want to fuck. Just let them fuck. Like, this show still falls into that trap that so many other harem anime get trapped in, where it's like, it's sexy, but it's also sexless. It's that really fucking weird paradox of romance anime, where it's sexy but sexless. And I'm really starting to get tired of it. Just let them fuck. Horimiya has spoiled me. That, yes, they fuck in that. Sorry I spoiled that for you, but go watch Horimiya. That's like the best rom-com of the year, hands down. But just let them fuck. Come on, just let them fuck. But yeah, and I actually really like the characters in this too. They're just so fun and lovable. Saki is like the main girl purely by time circumstance. She reminds me a lot of the main girl from Ino Battle, that one Trigger show that everyone forgot about except for that one scene that Hanakana did the voice for. But she reminds me of the main girl from that. The mid-length red hair, same kind of personality. You could tell that might be one of my types. Yeah, I've really started to hone in on, like, what are my types in anime. I really started to hone in on, like, oh, I have there's a trend going. But she's great. Nagisa is just like a perfect wife kind of character. She kind of looks like the second girl from Rent a Girlfriend. Cuter though, in my opinion. And then there's a fucking YouTuber, She's basically like a booby Twitch streamer, but like a lifestyle YouTuber. Um, she's a twin-tailed tsundere, so A plus. The only thing that's not stereotypical about it is that she actually has giant tits instead of being flat-chested. And she's trying to muscle in on the relationship as well, but she wants him all to herself. Just a really good dynamic between all these characters. Unfortunately, the comedy does really just die off a little bit as the story goes on. Like, it doesn't have less comedy or worse comedy. It's just the same comedy. Just the joke gets old after a while. So it gets less funny as it goes on, so it becomes a little bit more of a chore to watch. And also there's some like not healthy relationship stuff that it paints as being very like honorable and amazing. Like the main character has been asking Saki out every month from the time they were in elementary school up until she finally accepted in high school, and he's very forceful about it. And it's like it's a little it's a little creepy, a little much. At some point, she just should have said, "Hey, no, stop." Like they never clarified that she just didn't want to go out, that she was like afraid of going out with him or something. It was just it was more of an instance of like, I'm not interested in you. And so I was like, at some point you got to give up. And like they sort of praise him for not giving up, even though he's like super forceful about it. Not great. But yeah, so the second half of the series definitely dipped off a bit in quality, except for like the very end where like he again now yeah, as mildly problematic as he is sometimes, really steals the show in just how fucking badass he is in really trying to make this relationship work. Like the final episode, Nagisa has her own self-confidence problems, and like she's trying to balance her place in the poly relationship, and Naoya swoops in to be like, "You're important. Don't think that you're not important." And I really liked that. Yeah, so show had its issues narratively, but it was fine overall. Really strong start that just kind of petered off a little bit, but not to the point where I just gave up on it, which by all rights I should have, because this is also an ugly ass fucking show. The girl character designs are really nice. I shouldn't say really nice. They're slightly above passable. I found them all very cute. I found them all extremely cute. But the rest of the show kind of looks like ass. It's not. There's no cinematic ambition anywhere in here. It's just not great looking. The soundtrack, though, goes surprisingly hard. Like, there's a lot of interesting stuff in the soundtrack. A lot of it goes to accentuate the extremeness of the comedy, which really helped. Like there's basically there's one track that basically is like store brand "You Say Run," and every time it plays, I'm like, this is so fucking absurd. I love it. And there's another track where it's like, oh, there's a clarinet and bass clarinet duet in this. What the fuck? I like this. It's interesting. I'll have to look up who the composer was after this. But yeah, would recommend mildly. I would recommend the show, flaws and all, only if you're like really into the premise of a poly relationship. I don't think I would watch a second season unless they fuck, because that's really it's really annoying that they so clearly want to fuck, but they just don't fuck. It's probably like a shonen manga or something, so they can't just fuck willy-nilly. Although we had Domestic Girlfriend, so who knows? I think everything's open at this point. But yeah, that was Girlfriend, Girlfriend. I am happy I finished it, even though it dipped off at the end. So let's move on to the next one.
Alright, Girlfriend, Girlfriend is done. And we're gonna put it right there. And give it a decent 6. It was fine. Had a lot of good stuff and a lot of bad stuff. In any case, let's move on. Let's keep on trucking. What do we have next? 12. What is 12? Mother of the Goddess Dormitory. Okay, from harem to harem. All right. Let's do it. Let's go.
Well, that was definitely porn that I just watched. Not a whole lot to say outside of that. It doesn't really have anything interesting, which, admittedly, that's not what it's going for. It is porn. Literally opens on titties right in front of the camera. And yes, I did watch the uncensored version. Decent bodies, decent titties. But yeah, not much outside of that. If you want softcore porn, go right ahead. But there's a lot of not interesting stuff in the middle of that. Main character reminded me of the kid from Shonen Maid, so at least it had that going for it, but yeah, no, drop. Next.
Alright, we're gonna take that one off the list. And we're gonna roll again. What do we get? 4. Remake Our Lives. Barely heard anything about this one. Let's get into it.
Alright, so guess this, as expected from the title, this one was one of those, like, go back in the past and change your future kind of things that have been surprisingly popular as of late. Like, we have this, you have Tokyo Revengers, we had Relife. In fact, this one seems oddly similar to Relife in a lot of senses. I'll be honest, I didn't make it very far into the first episode. I was horribly bored. Just not interested in any way whatsoever. I have a general distaste for this kind of story for reasons that I might dive more in specifically into in a more like scripted video, but generally I don't like this specific kind of story of what if you could redo your past. It just doesn't vibe with me for very personal reasons. But it can be done well. Like, I liked Relife. I thought that was fun. But this one was just kind of boring and drab. The animation wasn't bad per se. It just wasn't super engaging. I found it just very average and forgettable, except for who I assume is the main girl in the series, who's like I assume she's going to be the main girl because she's got red fucking hair, so wouldn't waste that on a character design that's not going to be around for a while. I've watched enough anime to know that. Also, there was a scene where he first jumps into his past where he's like, what happened to all my light novels? Like, there's only 7 volumes of Familiar of Zero, and where's Haganai? An asterisk score. I'm like, we get it. You were published in MF Bunko J. We get it. It's a very obscure reference that you're going to have to go to Wikipedia to get, but that was a very just completely took me out of the moment there where I'm like, okay, now you're just shilling your other fucking publications. Jesus. Hate light novels. Yeah, this one was just boring. Wish I had more to say, but I didn't make it far enough in to say because I was just horribly fucking bored by it. So let's move on.
Alright, we're gonna scratch off Remake Our Life. Drops us down to 16 shows left. So 15 random plus Dragon Maid. Yeah, again, we're gonna end with Dragon Maid just because I feel like it. But let's see what's next. Next is number 9. What's number 9? Love Lives Superstar. Is that one finished yet? Let's take a look. Where are you at? Love Live. Love Live. There it is. Looks like it's finished. Let's double check on Mal just to be sure. Come on. It is finished. So, alright. Time to see some school idols. Let's jump into Love Live.
Alright, I just finished all of Love Live Superstar and it was pretty good. Guess I could start this one by explaining my general Love Live experience. So far, I've only seen 2 Love Live series, and it's the most recent ones. I started with Nijigasaki, and now I've seen Superstar. I've seen a couple episodes of School Idol Project, but not enough to have a definitive opinion on it. In general, I'm liking this franchise so far, but I'm also starting to see some repetition, especially now with Superstar. But let's get into Love Live. Love Live is one of these franchises that just has an awful reputation with anime fans that are, I'm happy to say, are mostly unfounded. A lot of the criticisms people have for it really don't hold up to any scrutiny, although the main criticism is basically just moe garbage, which it definitely is not. Although it does certainly have that feel to it, this hyper moe saccharine kind of feel to it. I will definitely admit that it has that. So if that's not your jam, you're definitely not gonna like Love Live. But I love my moe shit. Is good shit. And the other thing about Love Live that I think throws a lot of people off is the writing isn't like writing for other anime. It's not writing itself like, it's sort of in this weird halfway realm where like this is an anime and so like it's a TV story that is being told, but also there's a lot of elements to the writing where it feels like a musical or a stage play. There's this very theatrical quality to it. And so Love Live is kind of a halfway between those two kinds of writing styles. And I think that's the best way to view Love Live, is that it has these kind of stagey qualities to it. So that makes it a lot more, that clues you in a lot more to how this show is written. And I enjoy it. I love musicals. I haven't seen enough musicals, but I do like musicals, so I enjoy this. Although I will say, with Nijigasaki being my first Love Live series, I think I've definitely been spoiled in a lot of ways. Even though that one was not, I guess in terms of Love Live canon, it wasn't as well received as other entries, especially not in comparison to this one, at least Mal-wise. I think on Mal, Nijigasaki is like a 7.57, and Superstar has like a 8.12 or something. But yeah, I actually prefer Nijigasaki over this one, but not by a massive margin. I still really like Superstars. But there were some elements, I thought the characterization wasn't quite as strong. No, I'm not even going to say that. Not that the characterization wasn't strong, because it was. There were definitely some great dynamics in here. But I just personally got attached to the specific quirks and stories of the Nijigasaki crew a lot more. Although there were some really solid things in Superstars. I liked just Kanon leading with the stage fright kind of stuff and getting over that. That was kind of fun. Um, Sumire's story really came around in the end. She was just fucking. I wasn't super into her at first, but the way they really hammer in, and it's like episode 10, I think, this inferiority complex she has, this imposter syndrome that's manifesting in her, where she doesn't think she deserves to be in the center ever because she's just been never picked number one her entire life, despite how hard she tries. You can see how that struck a few chords with me. But really came around in the end. I think one of the things that I just didn't, why I didn't vibe with her super well at first is because they really make her rivalry with Cuckoo like really intense. Like they're just going at each other's fucking throats. Like Jesus Christ, chill out, girls. But then the reveal that I guess Cuckoo has to go home to back to China if she doesn't win Love Live. I'm gonna be. I think that's what they said in this show, but and with Sumire being the only one who knows about that, and that just both motivates and crushes her even further. So they really pulled that rivalry turned friendship in the end thing. They really pulled that off. Chisato, she was fun. She's the athletic girl who tries to whip them all into shape. She was a fun character, and I liked her push to make Kanon more independent and be able to get over her past traumas and such. The only character I wasn't super into was Ren, the student council president, who, much like many other Love Live series, does not let our main characters form a school idol club. That seems to be a pretty repetitive idea in Love Live so far, and it's starting to wear on me a bit. Like they did it for a little bit in Nijigasaki, I think, if I recall correctly. They did it in this. It lasted a pretty long time in this. And from my brief knowledge of School Idol Project, I think something similar happens there as well. Again, I don't quite remember, but if it is as repetitive as I'm remembering it being, it's getting a bit excessive. So, hopefully we won't see this pop up again. And just her character seemed a little rough around the edges in terms of the kind of quirks and nuances they were trying to add into with her. Some were fun, some weren't, but yeah, she was okay. She was fine. Yeah, the overall cast was pretty. I think I was hoping for just something a little deeper with these characters, especially since it's got half the number of main cast as Nijigasaki, but I feel like I got to know the Nijigasaki characters a lot more. Because those were more character. Each of those episodes was extremely character specific. But again, it could just be the specific nuances that I'm honing in on. Animation wise, this one is also seems much more in line with the more typical Love Live art style. Again, Nijigasaki had an entirely different aesthetic, which I loved. This one isn't. I'm not super into the aesthetic of School Idol Project and Sunshine. I think it's way overly cute and such. But again, I haven't seen the whole series yet for them, so I can't super judge it. Superstars has more of that aesthetic, but it also has like cleaner. The line work isn't as thick and pronounced. It's got a much cleaner aesthetic to it. It's not overly cute, but it still has that cuteness to it. So I think that's a nice refinement of that style. Songs were pretty solid. not quite as many bangers as Nijigasaki. Again, that's the only thing I had to compare it to. But loved the song in episode 10, the rap themed one, although I wish it had a little bit more rap in it. Uh so the freestyle rap in anime is I'm just gonna say it's fucking bad. Like, it always has the same flow to it. It always has the same rhythm, the same kind of generic beat. And I get it, it's just freestyle, but it never feels unique across any series I've seen. It's only when you get into like actually written rap songs that you really feel like the uniqueness of the flow and the rhymes and all that come out. Like, I think Odd Taxi is really the only show where an actual rap song in the show has really stuck out to me, or yeah, stood out to me. But yeah, the song in episode 10, loved that. The finale song in episode 12, really liked that one. Had some really good just structure and pacing to it. Yeah, I enjoyed the show overall. Looks like they're definitely teasing a season 2. I don't know if they've announced it yet or not, but I'm looking forward to that. So, hopefully that comes soon. And yeah, that's all I have to say about Love Live, so let's go to the list.
Alright, Love Live is finished, so we're going to take it off here, and we're going to put it... Ooh, I already decided where I want to put it, now I'm second guessing myself. Yeah, fuck it, right there. Now, I know it looks super low on the list, but a decent 7 is still a good score. That's a good score.